Hello everyone, welcome to this crappy video. See what I did there? First, before I start talking about the poo anxiety, I just wanted to say a massive thank you for everyone who messaged me on Friday when I had my meltdown. It was really helpful and kind of you. Thank you for this tremendous support I've been receiving over the last week from everyone who had their tummy tucks, and also from all of you who send me messages saying that you find actually my videos very helpful in your decision making to have a tummy tuck. So I'm really grateful for that. Thank you so much. So today, the overdue and promised video on the number 2 anxiety before and after the operation. So as you do your research, you know that constipation is one of the big problems after the tummy tuck. So you can get it because of the general anesthetic and also the pain medication, especially codeine, can make you constipated, which is not great. So I also, of course, suffered from this anxiety. And although I don't really have problems with number 2, when I got my operation scheduled, I guess the stress inside of me made me constipated straight away. I'm not sure if this was just because I was so scared of getting constipated that I actually got constipated, but I did, and and I was quite nervous. So I have decided to adopt the marathon training approach to this. So I've been training to a marathon early this year, and one of the big things is that, well, make sure you do not need to go and have a number 2 during your marathon slot because you don't want to ruin your time. So there's this approach that says that you have to train your body into taking all of the foods that you need, so all of the fuel, and then training your bowel to actually work on a certain time. So you go to the toilet like 6 o'clock in the morning, and you just sit there until you've done number 2. So I have adopted a very similar approach to my nutrition before the tummy tuck, and I was trying to train my body to eat certain foods and to actually make sure I have flowing bowel movements. Now, I'm a kind of person that is absolutely obsessed with weight. I weigh myself every day, and I'm always on some kind of a diet. Mostly Monday to Friday, and then I spend weekend eating kebabs and wine, but that's another story. So I know that if I deprive myself of carbs, by carbs I mean pasta, bread, rice, and I just eat vegetables and fruit, although they are very high in fiber, they will make you constipated. So I knew from my previous experience that in my diet, I have to have some carbs also because, carbs give you the energy and you need the energy to recover. So it makes sense to have some after your surgery. You don't want to be on keto diet, although I see that people are, and, maybe it's good for them. I personally wouldn't put myself on this kind of diet after tummy tuck. But that also because I don't have really much to lose. So, easy for me to say, I know. Well, anyway, so about 2 weeks before my tummy tuck, I started eating things that I know I will be eating after my tummy tuck. And two of the big changes actually, was that I started eating prunes and yogurts. I don't like yogurts, but I started eating Activia just to make sure that I have all of the necessary bacteria to make, to actually have a healthy bowel movements. And prunes. Now we all know prunes are disgusting. There's no better way to say it. So I went for Nature Finest prunes from Tesco's in juice. The juice is absolutely disgusting, so I don't drink it. But I take the prunes out and I eat them every morning. So every morning I'll have few prunes and I'll have some pineapple, because pineapple apparently really good for inflammation. Well, I'm not sure the canned pineapple. Some people are like, oh yeah, it has to be fresh. I'm like, I can't be bothered with a fresh one. So I'm just going to buy a canned one. And that's what I'm doing. So every morning I have some prunes I have some pineapple and I have a black coffee. Well, black coffee. I have a coffee with milk, no sugar. And that's my breakfast. For first few days after the surgery, I would also have a toast with cheese, but now I'm just not that hungry, so I just have fruit and coffee. And before the surgery, I think my last bowel movement was on a Friday or Saturday, and he wasn't pretty. He was still pretty constipated. But I think it was all down to nerves more than anything. Because I was running, I was doing my exercise. There was no possible reason on earth why I should be constipated, but I was. So yeah, it wasn't pretty. Except for prunes and yogurts, I also make sure that I eat carbs like whole pasta or brown rice every day. And you don't have to have a lot of it. If you worry about your calorie intake, if you have 2 spoonfuls of like brown rice or you have like a tiny bit of pasta, it's not going to cost you a lot in calories, but it will still bring some carbs to the table and some fiber that helps me, maybe will help you. So do not deprive yourself. And anyway, so after the surgery, both number 1 and number 2 sounded like an adventure. The number 1 was pretty traumatic, I must say. Well, traumatic and funny. I say traumatic, and that's a big word. Maybe a bit too dramatic. But basically, after I woke up, I felt like I really need a wee. And my nurse said, oh, you had the catheter during your surgery, so maybe it's just this. But then, an hour later, I was just like, nah, I'm pretty sure I just need a toilet. She's like, okay, it's a bit early, but okay, if you need to, you need to. So 3 nurses came around now that shocked me. I thought I'm going to be on a toilet. They brought a wheelchair in that had a little hole and reusable cardboard toilet in it. And I haven't seen a thing like that before, so I was just like, oh, well, that is something. But okay, well, they helped me to get up. They sat me on a wheelchair throne, and then I was just like, okay, you're gonna leave now? And they were like, no, well, we can't leave because if you faint, we have to catch you. I was like, okay, well, that makes perfect sense. So they did turn around, and as I was sitting there, I was still quite sore. It was a few hours after the surgery, so I was like, I want to push, but I can't. So I just knew I just have to let it go. But, when you just let it go, it takes bloody ages. So it was just going and going and going. And the silence in the room, I have 3 nurses, they're all quiet, and it's just me there. And it goes, silence. At some point, I just said, oh my God, it's like the longest wee I've ever had in my life. I'm really sorry. And I was just like, this is so demeaning. This was just so demeaning. They were like, oh yeah, don't worry. Like the nurses were absolutely fabulous. And, it was both funny and strange at the same time. It took bloody good 3 minutes to actually, get all of this through. And I couldn't believe it. I said to them, I only had a pint of water at 6 a.m. But why is there so much coming out of me? And then they actually told me that during a surgery, you are being given fluids, and I've been given like 4 pints. So yeah, no wonder I felt like I needed to go to the toilet. So yeah, well, that was an experience that I will never forget, definitely. And then number 2. So the number 2 came on Tuesday after the operation. So 2 days after the operation, I was already at home. And I had my normal home breakfast, so the prunes, the pineapple, the toast, and the coffee. And like 20 minutes later, I just knew, it's time to go. So I went, and the first thing that I was worried about was my garment. So the garment I have, it goes from under my breasts all the way around above my knees. And it has a hole that goes round your lady bits and round your bum, right? So now in my head, I was really worried that when I do the number 2, it's going to go straight in my garment And then I was still pretty stressed about taking off my garment then, because my surgeon said, do not take off your garment till Friday, and it was Tuesday. So I was just like, oh my God, if I take it off, who's going to put it on? It took a nurse and a doctor to put it on me. Surely it's going to be just a disaster. So I took lots of toilet paper and I just patted it all around on the back, which was, it wasn't easy because I could barely move, but I managed. And then I sat and I was just, just had to go through it. And because it was several days, obviously, there was some hard stool to come out first, which wasn't great. And I wasn't quite sure at first if I should push or not. But as I was sitting there for a few minutes and I knew that it's just not going to slide out on its own, I had to push a little bit. And so I did. It was a bit uncomfortable, but it all came out. Once the initial comes out, the rest just follows. What I also do to make sure that I have a healthy bowel movement, I didn't take my codeine. So when I left from the hospital, from that moment, I didn't take codeine, because codeine is the one, and the nurses actually said to me, codeine can make you constipated, so don't take it until you actually need it. So although I was quite uncomfortable, I was managing on ibuprofen and paracetamol, and I didn't take codeine at all. And I've been actually off my pain meds fully since Wednesday morning. So maybe that also helps, the fact that my bowel movements are now regular and are just soft stools. So that's really good. I make sure I drink 4 pints of water every day on top of my normal fluids. So normal fluids, but I mean coffee and tea. 2 pints before lunch and then 2 pints after lunch. What I also do, I make sure I have some carbs every day. Some wholemeal bread, some wholemeal pasta or brown rice, something, not much, because I'm still, I still don't want to put the weight on, but I'm having some within my calorie range to make sure that I actually get all of the nutritions. Now, I've seen some people that are on different kinds of diets. I'm not sure this is something I would go for, but each to their own. So yeah, well, what is there really else to say? Try to have whole foods. Try to refrain from sugar. You can have one chocolate bar, like a small chocolate bar, but don't stuff yourself with something that will make you constipated. Have fruit, have veg. Have leafy veg like broccoli, spinach. I know not everyone likes it, but just suck it up. I mean, it's only a few weeks after your surgery. You want to make sure you eat the foods that will actually make your life easier in those few days, even though they're disgusting, like a prune juice. So yeah, that's it about the anxiety. Oh, and also, actually, that's not it. See, the laxatives. So I was very stressed about getting constipated. My nurse said to buy some laxatives. I didn't need them. I bought them. I didn't need them. But, if you feel that it's not going to come out, and, if you're getting stressed about it, take some laxatives. If the doctor says that's fine, the nurses say that's fine, it's absolutely normal to get constipated after the surgery. Just bloody take some. I bought some just in case. Touch wood, I didn't need them so far, and hopefully I won't, but don't brave it. If you need help, you need help. Just get some. And yeah, good luck. I hope you find this helpful, and let me know if you have any other ideas on videos. If there's anything else I can explain from my experience, I'm more than happy to. Have a great Sunday, everyone.